Hello, everyone. My name is Nick Hosking, and I am today's special guest on the Digital Prosperity Show, where we'll go through the journey from highway to website design.
Welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Online Prosperity Show. I'm your host, Prosper Taruvinga, and this is the #1 spot for exclusive insights into real-world pain, powerful solutions, and step-by-step methods. And if you are a service-based business owner, consultant, or freelancer who's struggling to stand out online, or maybe you're frustrated that your website just doesn't attract the right clients or doesn't cut it anymore, you're in the right place today. We're joined by special guest Nick Hosking. Now, Nick, how are you doing today?
Very well, thank you, Prosper, for having me here.
Absolutely. Well, the pleasure is all mine. For those that are meeting Nick for the very first time, let me take you from under that digital rock you've been hiding under. Now, Nick Hosking is a digital strategist and the founder of KN Website Design. Nick helps businesses grow through smart SEO and unforgettable website design. And today we're going to be going through, his journey and what has shaped KN Website Design to what it is today. We're also going to be looking at some of his struggles, self-doubt, and things that he went through, and also the mentorship that helped him take a leap to what he has become. We're also going to be looking at some of the systems and processes that he uses to generate leads for his clients. And I can't wait to jump into this because SEO and websites is a very, very was one of my favorite topics to talk about, because that is one of the things that I first of all started doing myself. But this is not my case. This is Nick's show today. Now, Nick, before I keep rumbling and talk about things I'm not even qualified to talk about, before you started KN Website Design, you were actually doing tours for people around Australia. Tell us a little bit about that and, what that entailed for you.
Thanks, Prosper. Essentially, before stepping into the digital marketing world, I was driving tour coaches around Australia for essentially high net worth individuals, all from Germany, the Netherlands, America, Japan, and including even Australians that wanted to see Australia but didn't know how to do it. So I was based in Melbourne. We used to travel everywhere from Adelaide to Alice Springs to Cairns and all the way through. So been to many different places around the world and actually got paid to travel around Australia, which was very different to what a lot of other people have had the experiences of doing. But it gave me the insight to be able to open up my eyes to different industries, hearing stories about what other people have done in their life. Mostly retirees or getting close to that point, and a lot of them had ran their own businesses. So it gave me a good insight into what their experiences were in not just in life but in business, and shaped many decisions I probably made since subconsciously without even realizing. Now that I'm sitting here, it's shaped many different paths because of the conversations I had during that time as behind the wheel.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for opening us up with that. Now, I mean, Nick, you're dealing with people that were high net worth individuals. These are people that have some sort of status in society and, like you said, owned businesses and things of that nature. Now, you might have a few inside info, like you said, you were talking to them and, having all these conversations. What do those people have for breakfast that we don't have?
Surprisingly enough, the one thing any international tourists that want to come up want to try Vegemite. So
Yeah.
if you want to think that's what they're having for breakfast, ultimately they're just human beings, and I think that's what a lot of people forget is these high net worths. At the end of the day, they are just regular people that have taken the opportunities that have been put in front of them, and that's something that I did learn. It was even him, my partner, said to me when we first met, is just say yes. If an opportunity comes to the door, take it, because you don't know what path or what doors that one yes will open. Or if you say no, it blocks pretty much every other door that comes into it. So that was one thing that I did learn is that a lot of them just took the opportunities that were placed in front of them at the certain times in their life. And a lot of them, you talk to most of them, they would be like, no, weren't successful the first time. They've made mistakes. Some of them were bankrupt, but have come back from it. So it's just that's just say yes and back yourself.
You know where that puts you in a very different and unique position, because you've dealt with these people, you've seen them, at maybe their lowest or at their most humane sort of level, and now you are obviously working in that sort of space and fostering and also being a part of the entrepreneurial journey, where you're also helping other people do and have a happier existence. So what then got you to jump into the digital marketing space, since you're already working with these guys? Were the tips not that good?
So I actually made a judgment to get out of the same company, but I moved into a management position within the company in their logistics department. So I was no longer on the road, so I wasn't having those interactions with those people. And I decided that I would take long service leave. And I thought, it's owing to me, I may as well take it, see where it leads to. The next thing is I was absolutely annoying Kim, because she would go to work, come home, and I would have done work again. I wasn't doing anything because I was just sitting at home. So she gave me some education videos that one of our mentors had done, and in the digital marketing space, and essentially it led to us opening up K website design, to then getting us to where we are today. It was through, I don't know if I can say his name, leave it out if you want, but Matt Rudd and Liz Rudd from E-Business Institute got us essentially one of their programs that started that program or that thing. And from there, we've just, I was able to pick it up quite quickly and quite easily. Kim says I've got a photographic memory, so I can usually do once, play around for about 10 minutes, and then it's no knowledge to me. So, that gave me the chance to build our website for starters, and then we just started building other people's, like getting referrals, getting other business. I joined M.E.D.I.A, and we just essentially the journey began just by me taking long service leave. I never went back to that job after the long service leave. I simply just went on to doing owning and running the agency.
Absolutely, and congratulations on that. I mean, obviously, you might have left being a tour guide around Australia, but you jumped on and you became an internet explorer, at that particular time. So what was the internet like at the time you guys jumped on? Like, so much has changed, but what was the lay of the land at that particular time?
So this is very early AI people knew what AI was, but it wasn't like today where everybody's using AI for everything from search engine to research to whatever the journey is. It still had some space for people to take it on. And look, there's still plenty of there's over 1 billion websites in the world. There's plenty of space for everybody to work. But people get scared, I guess you could say, fearful that there's going to be no work if I open up a digital agency. There is abundance of businesses out there that need help. And we all do it differently. That's the other thing. But looking back, the internet has evolved so quickly. When we started, everyone was on Google for wanting to know how to cook pasta through to where do I find my local plumber, or whatever the search phrase was or keywords were, they would be on Google. Nowadays, it is evolving into they're on Bing, they're on Claude, they're on even Gemini and Copilot are taking a portion of the search engine space. So it does come down to you need to have your own space within the website world, or your business is not going to survive.
Absolutely. And you're absolutely right about that, because when it all started, I remember when I was exposed to Google Earth, the first thing I did was try to locate my house. But you see that is used by, satellites, armies, and things of that nature, you know what I mean? So usually when a technology comes, people don't quite know how to utilize it. And I can so see that sort of space that you're in. But at what moment then did you realize that this technology would best suit local businesses that maybe were not visible online? Because there was so much around at that time that maybe was only available to like the bigger businesses that could afford having a team and people that could work around the internet.
I always lived by the philosophy of start now, start small, or start small, start now. In as far as you don't need to have a $1 million website. You've just got to have a presence, because if someone refers you to somebody, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to check out your socials and your website to see if you're credible. So if you don't have even a web, just a landing page can be the difference between you getting that business and not. So we had that discussion with a lot of clients to go, let's just get something onto the website, into the website world, so that you can deliver something to your clients. Is it going to be the best thing out there? Probably not, but it's a start for your business in that we can build it. But if you don't have anything, you're never going to be found. So Google doesn't know how to search or how to index your website if you don't have one. So you need something there so that it can start correlating. And then, of course, you have your Google business profile and all the other links out to the world, but it needs to start with your website. There's a great diagram on sort of spider web where your site's in the middle with all the webs evolving around it. Everything needs to lead back to your website ultimately. And that ultimately is the foundation of SEO. Is if you don't have a website, you're never going to be honest. You're never going to be able to be SEO, because it's just a fundamental aspect of it. There's There's elements to building a website that is going to optimize better. But again, start small, start now, and help businesses get that first evolution. Because again, we can change it up as time goes by. Yeah.
See, I've also been on this journey, especially on the SEO side of things, but there has been so many different changes to the algorithm that Google was trying to course correct and recalibrate, the way people can be found and how websites can be sorted out online. How did you navigate all of this, and how did you come out on top?
So there was a big one about 18 months ago, the HCU, or the Helpful Content Update, where Google decided that it knew that people were not necessarily giving the greatest of information. They were just flooding the keywords into the articles to get ranked. So the algorithm changed, and Google changed how they were monitoring that. And it came down to it wanted helpful, informative content. And the way we get around that is we do an extensive amount of keyword research, so we know the volumes of what people are searching for. We also don't just look at what we call the star keywords, the hierarchy. We have a hierarchical keyword system. We don't look at that. We look at all levels of keywords, be it a long tail keyword through to your standard, whatever the business niche is. We go right through them. But then we also do a lot of research into other people, what they're doing in that space. So we'll get a bank of keywords, sort of search and see what other people are doing. However, we also get all our content written by humans. We don't rely on AI to write our content. We employ high quality content writers that write the content that go back to our clients before we post it onto their website. We always get them to have that final approval before it goes onto their website. Any edits will go back to the content writer to get it amended, but the client, at the end of the day, it's their content. They have to feel happy with it. But yeah, we only really use 1% of keyword density within each piece of content that goes onto the website. So when it comes to keywords these days, less is more, but it needs to be relevant, useful, and again, it just needs to be user focused. Is it answering the question that is being asked to the search engine? And if that's basically what it comes down to, if you're not answering that question, or you're trying to trick the question into the person into the page coming up in the searches, it's going to be denied. It's going to get sandpitted or sandboxed.
No, obviously we started you off as obviously doing those tours for high net worth individuals, and now we've shifted into your digital marketing sort of prowess and the things that you're doing. Has there been a learning curve that you've incurred in order for you to then be as skillful as you are in this space, or was that just that video that you watched from your mentor?
A lot of them back to that initial video series that I watched and grasped quite quickly. I could probably say a lot of the business side of running the agency has come from the way that I saw the transport company were running their business. And again, a lot of the conversations have changed the way I thought about business now when I look back. But I wouldn't necessarily say that there is that is a definitive correlation between what I was doing and what I'm doing now. Again, I think most people my age have about 10 different careers in their lifetime these days. So it's not uncommon for people to change business or careers, not necessarily start their own business. But yeah, I think I've done it, been in that space for so long. I was there for nearly 15 years in that space that I just felt that this was something different, a new challenge, and one that I would never change.
Absolutely. You see, when a lot of people, well, I'm just maybe talking about myself, when you start, especially in the digital marketing space, a lot of people start this off as a hobby, like there's that hobby mindset that you sort of think, let me just create a website today and maybe let me show up on socials, or maybe let me tweet something or things like that. Did you ever go through that phase, with K and business, or did you actually just go straight full business mode, when you started this business?
Kim had already built a couple of little portfolio sites. So she already had a lot of the groundwork, the understanding of how a website works and what needs to go into it. But ultimately, with me taking long service leave and me working into being a better, feeling that this was a better space for me to be in after that initial watching the videos, I quit my job. So I didn't have the chance to use it as a hobby. It needed to work because I was no longer employed. The business was now the groundwork that we were building on. So it needed to work, and it's been a challenge. There's been challenges within the business, but yeah, I wouldn't have said that. It was never a hobby for me. It was. I learned through the videos. I learned from Kim, who had already done a number of little projects. We worked out that there was a need for people in the industry, that needed websites. So yeah, we grabbed it, and now it's doing quite well.
Congratulations. Now, maybe you can tell us a little bit more about maybe some of the systems or offers or the automations that you've actually started maybe using within your business that have now just created this freedom for yourself and the growth that your KN website design has started to enjoy.
So probably the biggest system we have invested in is our CRM. It's essentially it's designed around the digital marketing space, and does everything from your contacts, tasks. So it's an offshoot of a project management software. It also does workflows, email chains, nurture sequences. It allows us to nurture the client essentially on autopilot. A lot of what we still make sure that the wording is very personalized, and we also make sure we do answer specific inquiries personally. Not everything is done through our CRM, but ultimately we have invested in the software to try and help us grow our business into more automated, into a more automated business to give us ultimately the lifestyle that we want.
Absolutely. I can attest to that. You can't climb the ladder of success with your hands full. So some of these things need to be automated, especially when it comes to invoicing and just general, management of the business. So if somebody shows up at your business today, KN website design, what is sort of the process you take them through, and what will they walk out of the door with?
So ultimately, if someone was to knock at the door and say, look, I need help, we would sit down with them and work out where they are at the moment. What have they got? Do they have a website? Are they just on socials? Is it a bare slate? Depending on, and from there, we would work with them to develop a website. We primarily build on WordPress. So we would build a foundation, but before we even get to that foundation point, we sit down with them and go through who their client is, where they're going to be found, all of the avatar type questions. We spend about an hour and a half, 2 hours with them nutting out what tone, I guess you could say, you need to get for your client, because there's no point talking in business talk or business languaging if your client isn't in that space. So if you're trying to deal with an NDIS client, there's no point using hard, big words for them because they're not going to understand it. So you need to relate. You need your website to relate to your clients. So we do that before we've even built a website. All that content will then go off to our writers along with our keyword bank that we send. And we'll just get the writers to create all the content for the website, and then ultimately they will get then off to the client for approval. Once it gets approved from the client, we then start actually building the website, because I find it easier segmenting the content onto the page and then adding elements in and call to actions into that, rather than building a page and then putting the content into it. I feel it just feels more natural to have the content there in the layout I need it for in that terms. Once the website's built and the client is happy, we get a final approval. We go live with that, and then we wait about 2 to 4 weeks, depending on the Google algorithms at the time, because we need it to be indexed. And then we'll quite often start with a SEO strategy, which would be anything from citation listings to Google business profiles, article, blog content, integrations with social media. There's a whole lot of range of aspects we look at and work out. No two businesses are the same. So we work out what is going to give you the quickest return on your investment. Because again, a plumber's not going to want to put articles out onto LinkedIn, but a business coach would. So you've got to work out where that client is hanging out to be able to get under them into their eyes as best as possible. So we sit down with the client and go, well, who do you think your client is? Where are they hanging out? Essentially, as you mentioned before, what are they having for breakfast? We try and get down to that sort of granular context, so we can then build a platform around that ideal client, because there's just no point building Noah's Ark if there's no rain coming. So you just want to make sure you're building something that is going to work for the client.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for taking us there, because so many people just think, you know what, I'm starting a business today. I'm just going to put together some sort of a website. My cousin knows how to do IT. I hear that a lot. My cousin is in IT. They'll fix up a website for me, but there's so much that goes in the strategy behind. So you actually have a winning formula before you even sort of get started. But you also sprinkled in plumbers, NDIS, and things of that nature. What sort of clients do you work best with, or would you, rather have knocking on that door again?
We do quite well with people in the legal space. We've worked with lawyers quite a bit and got good results for them. Buyers agents, so people not real estate, but buyers agents. We've done really well with a couple in Brisbane. Got quite good results for them. Ultimately, just service-based in businesses looking to grow through organic traffic. We do it paid ads if the client is insistent, but ultimately, a lot of the times, the clients we're dealing with, there's no need for them to. Well, it's a short-term fix, but it's not the ultimate goal. We might do sort of a 6-month ad campaign if they're a brand new business and want that quick transaction. But beyond that, we're really looking at getting them the SEO traction, because ads will eat up a lot of your profit very quickly. Where SEO done right, it's a set and forget a lot of the time for the client. For us, we're working away in the background, making sure that everything is aligning to what Google and the other search engines algorithms are wanting. And it's just making sure you're ahead of that next change as best as possible. And that's where a lot of people in business, they're good at what they do. They don't understand the SEO. And a lot of, you mentioned before, IT companies. IT companies are great at setting up a lot of the domain, email, DNS side of things, but when it comes to building a website, you're better off putting your head in the sand and hoping for the best. It's just you need people. Yeah, a lot of our clients have gone, oh, I built my own website, but it's not doing anything. Well, it's because it doesn't have the ultimate, like they build it for themselves. They're not building it for their clients. And that's the difference. You need to work out who your client is and then build them a website rather than building it for you. Yes, it needs to speak your language. If it's not built to grow your audience, then it's just a waste of time.
Absolutely. You see, so many people want to just do something just because it presents to be cheaper, better, faster, but in the long run, it's going to cost you because obviously price is, price is what you pay, but value is what you actually then get. And what you're saying is actually value embedded into the workings of delivering on that product. So if somebody's watching this right now and they're thinking, maybe KN website design is the place to be, where can they find you on the internet, so they can maybe get started on their journey?
So we've got our own website, which is knwebsitedesign.com. They can reach out to me at nick@knwebsitedesign.com. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, and we're on LinkedIn. Again, just Google KN Website Design, and we will be number one.
Absolutely. I mean, congratulations on all that support, success. I will definitely make sure that all those links are in the show notes below. Now, Nick, we've obviously been on a tour here. You were sort of showing us the sides of, where you started, and we're looking to the left. We're actually seeing, all the websites you've created while we're on the tour bus. But where are we headed? What's next for KN website design?
Ultimately, we are a boutique agency. We don't want we don't want thousands of clients. We sort of want 30 to 40 ideal clients that value what we offer their business. We value it, and we try and encourage businesses that want us as their offshoot marketing agency working within their business. So we are still in that growing phase, but we are looking. The future is we want to be a business that helps other businesses be searchable on the internet, be it whatever the internet looks like in 10, 20 years' time. We don't know, but AI search is the next big thing for a lot of businesses. To come up in the AI snippets is where we're aiming to get all our clients for as many of the keywords as we can.
Absolutely. And I quite like what you've just mentioned, whatever the internet looks like in 10, 15 years, because by the time we conclude this episode, we're already looking at a whole different internet that we at the time.
Very much so.
we started. But I'm a bit hopeful about this whole space, but I'm also a little bit angry, Nick. Maybe you can indulge me here for a little bit. I mean, we spent the last, say, 15 years really trying to rank sites and things of that nature, only to find out that Google has not indexed almost all the sites that are on the internet. And now that AI has come in, that has now become apparent. I don't know. Have you discovered that at all, or do you know how much the internet Google has actually been able to index as of the time ChatGPT opened up search?
I don't know the exact figures. I know that it is a large portion of the websites that haven't been indexed. So about 3 years ago, Google swapped from Universal Analytics to GA4, Google Analytics, and their indexing process changed within that. So you can now actually go back and re-index websites a lot more easier. So if you're not, again, if you're doing it yourself, you may not do that or know of that. But also, a lot of people don't realize that there's tools out there that will index websites for you. There's plugins onto websites that essentially just connect the two together, and it happens a lot faster. But yeah, there is a large number of websites that haven't been indexed, which again, when ChatGPT came along, caused a lot of issues because there wasn't as much information. The information wasn't as widespread as what we're getting to today. There's an article, I think it might be Newcastle University, that had, if you want more minerals in your diet, eat more rocks, from a ChatGPT search, because it didn't correlate the fact that a rock is a mineral, yes, but it's not the minerals that you need in your body. So, I quite often just have a bit of fun with ChatGPT as well, and ask us, does tall people derive from giraffes? Because the evolution story in it, and it's actually getting a lot smarter in its answers too. It's not 12 months ago, even 6 months ago, it would hallucinate something to make something up that it may not have known. Now it's actually starting to learn, okay, no, there is no biological relationship between a human and the giraffe, like there is with other animals possibly. So it's just interesting how that whole space has changed in the last, as you said, in the last 45 minutes we've been on this call. The AI world has changed.
Absolutely. I mean, when I started in this space, there was the yellow pages, where all the businesses were listed within the yellow pages. And then it moved, because the yellow pages was that alphabetical system that businesses were, sorted under. And then Google obliterated that system. You no longer had to start with A plumbing to be found, in your local area. You could just obviously optimize your website in such a way that, the search engines would find you. But now, with ChatGPT, if somebody starts a website, by the time we finish this conversation and by the time the person is watching this, it would already be indexed and people can now find it. So we're living in unprecedented times, and there's people like yourself that are spearheading this, and I can't wait to see what people are going to do with all this information. Now, Nick, I can't thank you enough for the time that we spent on the call today. I mean, your life story and your experience and what you're bringing to the table is definitely very eye-opening, and also really helping people build their businesses in such a way that they don't have false starts, especially when it comes to the internet. There, any sort of last words or things that you'd want people to sort of know about where all of this is headed, or any advice you want to give to people that have just been holding on thinking, should be all right, mate?
Comes back to what I said earlier. Start now. Start small. Start now. Don't be afraid. If you don't have something, it's like you can't build a house without a foundation. So you can't really build it these days. You can't build a business if you don't have a website. It's the fundamental foundation to many businesses. And if you're holding back, give me a call and we'll sort something out to get you started. It may not be the Taj Mahal to start off with, but let's get something out there.
Absolutely. Now, Nick, this has been eye-opening. I mean, from the outback highways to the internet highways, it's just been a path that has been built out of authenticity, growth, and just real-world transformation. So thank you so much for spending time with me today.
Thank you, Prosper, for having me.
Absolutely. For those that are watching right now, if you've ever felt invisible online or maybe burnt out chasing the next win, I think Nick's journey should be your actual roadmap. So be sure to check out the links that I'm going to be putting in the show notes below so that you can be in touch with KN Website Design, and hopefully you too, can be alleviated from that, race to the bottom that you are seemingly winning. So many people are not creating websites or are just hoping things will sort themselves out. I don't think that's the way if you actually listened to what Nick has to say. And if you found value in this particular episode, please share this with a friend who's maybe ready to stop random acts of marketing or just spinning their wheels and wants to start thriving. And I can't wait to see what you're going to do with this information. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.